I'm so fired up for this pick. With the 58th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Ezra Cleveland, left side, out of Boise State. And before I get into that, I just want to say one last time, the Washington Redskins are fucking morons. And I say that because of Dan Snyder. Oh my God, Bruce Allen, he got fired. He's gone, so the troubles are gone. No, as long as Dan Snyder is the owner of that team, it will forever be a dark cloud hovering over that franchise. If the only team that I know best outside of the Minnesota Vikings are the Washington Redskins. I grew up about 10 or 15 minutes away from FedEx Field. I know this team like the back of my hand. And what's crazy is it's just like last year. Think about it. Last year, if the Redskins traded Trent Williams, I remember the Cleveland Browns, they were the front runners at the time. They could have gotten reportedly a first-round pick for Trent Williams. Now you come around this time around, and in the draft, they were offered a mid-round pick, but reportedly the Redskins, they also wanted a second-round pick. So the price just keeps going lower and lower. They just basically fucked themselves, and what's crazy is it reminds me of, so I'm going to be 32 this year, right? And I grew up in the era when looking for jobs early on, high school, college, where it's, if you're going for a job interview, one job interview, and they will determine whether you have the job or not. Whereas now, lately, the last couple of years, you're looking at 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 job interviews. And it's just like, if you are stuck in a dead-end job, if you're unemployed or you're underemployed and you're going through the motions with this one particular company and you have to interview with them multiple times because you want to get out your dead-end job, then you deal with it. Otherwise, if you have other options, then you're like, all right, basically, I'm done with you. I'm going with option B or C because option A, you have been a waste of my time. And that is the Washington Redskins, because the Vikings, shout out to Rick Spielman for not folding under the pressure of the Washington Redskins, because the Vikings had options. At pick 58, Josh Jones was still available. My God, how he was still available for the Vikings to select at 58 is beyond me, especially when you consider Austin Jackson was a first-round pick. Josh Jones should have been a first-round pick. And not only that, Ezra Cleveland, in all the mock drafts I've done, no matter how many mock drafts that you do, this just goes to show that the NFL draft goes completely unexpected every single time, because every mock draft that I've done, Ezra Cleveland was not available at pick 58, but the Vikings had options, damn it. They could say, okay, we'll up the ante and we'll trade for Trent Williams. We'll bite and we'll give in to what the Redskins are asking for, or we can draft Ezra Cleveland or Josh Jones. And Rick Spielman, shout out to this dude for taking Ezra Cleveland. We now have our franchise left tackle for the next 10 years, 4 of which is going to be a team-friendly deal before that rookie contract is up. I absolutely love this pick. It is a perfect fit for what the Vikings are trying to do in the zone blocking scheme. And normally, this is the first time that the Vikings and me have been on the same page. This is the first time, because normally when the stars align, I think back to 2018, the first round, Will Hernandez, he's right there. The stars are aligned. There he is. Just go. And there. How many times have we seen the Vikings in this scenario where everything is just so perfect and it's just, you know what? We'll take a kicker. We'll take a punter. We'll take a long snapper. Nah, you know what? This offensive lineman or this player that's clearly going to help the team. Nah, we're just, and they took Ezra Cleveland. This is the first time that we've been on the same page. I don't remember a time like that before, but how can you not like this pick? Oh, he's a project. I got that a couple of times on Twitter. Of all people, do I really have to be the optimistic parade leader right now with this pick? How can you not like this pick? A couple of folks on Twitter, oh, he's a project. I don't give a shit if he's a project or not. Personally, based on the film that I've seen, I think he's a day one starter. But even if he's a project, I don't give a shit. He is, remember Brian O'Neill? He was categorized as a project getting drafted out of Pitt in 2018. He was the second round. I don't have it in front of me. I believe he was the second round pick after Mike Hughes, if I'm not mistaken, right? And he was projected to be categorized as a project. And guess what? It worked out. He started, I want to say, the 5th or 6th game of that 2018 year Ezra Cleveland, if he's a project, so what? And speaking of Brian O'Neill, one could argue that he's a spitting image just athletically, the way he's light on his feet, he can move out on space. And listen, in a vacuum, I understand why Ezra Cleveland, people are like, oh my God, he's not all that great. Look at the scouting reports. Bro, look at the film yourself. Ezra Cleveland fits perfectly what the Minnesota Vikings are trying to do. And I just, the last 3 years, I think it's official now. We can throw this out the window. We cannot say anymore. I can't say this anymore, that the Vikings are not investing adequately in the offensive line. The last 3 years, you took Ezra Cleveland in the second round. You took Garrett Bradbury in the first round. The year before that, in 2019, 2018, if I'm not mistaken, you took Brian O'Neill in the second round out of Pitt. They're really addressing the offensive line with high draft picks. I absolutely love this pick. It's perfect for what the Vikings are trying to do. Now, what the Vikings do with the guards, move Riley Reif to guard, I don't like it. We'll see what they do. The Vikings, they traded back pick 105, was it? Pick 105 with the New Orleans Saints, and they just stockpiled in the fourth round. They have about 12 or 13 picks in day 3 tomorrow, so we'll talk about that as the picks go on tomorrow. Up next, we're going to talk about the cornerback that they just selected. Goodness, I had to do a quick film review on this guy because I had no idea who he was. Cam Dantzler, cornerback out of Mississippi State. We'll talk about that coming up. We do this at least once a week. Mediocre at Best Sports Podcast with Realistic Randy. Check me out on Twitter at realistic_Randy. Facebook at Realistic Randy. The next video, cornerback Cam Dantzler coming up. We'll see you then.